Tony Romo has started just 4 games since the start of the 2015 season. There was an ESPN report earlier this week saying he was focused on the Texans, which we've sort of talked about here on the show at the Breakfast Nook. Guys, does he have enough left to make a move, to be successful, to start for a team? What do we think? Like, there's some contenders out there. You'd think that's who we'd want to go to. The Broncos, the Chiefs, the Texans.
Nail it.
What do you got? Go ahead.
I want to tag in.
I realized this was a thing.
That's me tagging in. You said, does he have enough to play? Does he have enough to be successful? Does he have enough to be a starter on any team? Yes, 100%. I think the question that most teams will ask, especially the medical staff, is does his body have enough left in the tank for him to stay healthy? And I guess time will tell. We don't know. What we do know is 2014, he was one of the best quarterbacks in the league, MVP-like season, and that is the reason why teams are still interested in Tony Romo. So the teams that are kind of on the list that are up there, you said it's Houston, right? And we also have Kansas City and the Broncos. The crazy thing about this, because as I'm thinking about it and as you're teeing up this topic, I'm thinking to myself, there's other teams that need quarterbacks, and why aren't they on this list? And if you're not on this list, you're not actively pursuing a guy like Romo, do you really want to win that bad? Because these teams that are on the list, seems like they want to win now.
Can I tag in?
You got to hit the buzzer. I feel like they want to win now, though, Peter.
There's a lot more at stake than just what team wants him. Of course all those teams want him. The fact of the matter is Jerry Jones and Tony Romo are very tight. All right, It's almost like a father-son relationship. They've been through a lot. Tony Romo's under contract for 3 more years, all right? For Tony Romo to be able to choose his team, he needs to be released. So he'd have to go to Jerry Jones and say, hey, look, Dak is the starter. I get it. I played a good soldier here. I still want to play football. Let's just end this.
Let me go.
Release me. Right. We have a nice, clean thing. And in exchange, I get to choose where I go, meaning I don't need to play for a San Francisco. I don't need to play for a Jets. I can choose to go to one of those 3-seaters. Now, if there was a trade, and that's still a possibility, even if there was a trade, you would think that Jerry Jones, out of good faith, would not trade him to a Cleveland, would not trade him to a San Francisco, would not trade him to a rebuilding thing. So those 3 teams, Houston, Denver, Kansas City, they're all in a different conference. You're not going to play me in the playoffs. It's not going to be McNabb, Redskins versus Eagles and make it weird. Different conference, and more importantly, on the cusp. Now, if you want to go through those 3 teams and whether it's an upgrade to have a guy who hasn't played in 2 years because of his back, or Alex Smith, well, that's a whole other conversation. But from just the Romo perspective and the Cowboys perspective, get him out of the conference, right, and give him to a contender so he has a shot. But to do that, I don't know if a trade's going to make sense. I think it's going to have to be a clean, cut him and let him walk.
Why would he want it? Why would the Cowboys, because everything I'm reading, including what you're saying, is that they're most likely to cut him. Why would they want to do that when they could get something for him? Why would Jerry Jones not want to trade him to one of those people so he can get something of value back for the Cowboys? Because he likes them? Because he wants to do them solid?
You save $5 million if you cut him. You save $5 million because of the dead money on the salary contract, which is not fun to talk about, but that is what I said all along.
That's business, though.
Do you remember I said that a couple months ago? I said, I think you have to cut him. You can't trade him. You got to cut him. Plus a salary cap issue. So you save the money, and it's a clean split. Remember, the Colts cut Peyton Manning, arguably the greatest quarterback of all time, and he went on to break the single-season touchdown record a couple years later. You have to cut these guys to make sure the split is civil, because if you don't, you get this Brett Favre situation where there's lingering hostility. He ends up going to the Vikings, playing the Packers. It's weird. You have to cut him, and it has to be on his terms also.
I played 5 games in 2 years.
That's brutal.
I get the Broncos.
He had 1 drive last year, and he looked darn good.
That drive was great.
Nate, you have kept it real more than anybody else on his back injury, on father time sort of pecking away at the door.
For sure.
That's been you.
That's been me, but he came out, he had that 1 drive, he threw a touchdown, I believe.
Went right down the field.
It was like nothing.
It reminded me of 2014. Now, can he do it? I don't know. Time will tell. I don't know how his body feels. Only he knows. So I'm past that. I'm past saying, Tony, you need to retire so you can play with your kids. I'm past that. If he wants to play, let the man play. And I actually saw him in Houston during the Super Bowl. We were leaving one of the parties, and I dapped him up. He said, hey, I love what you're doing. I watched the show. And I said, as a man, I want you to retire, but as a player, I want you to keep playing. Go out there and play. And he nodded, kind of like, yeah, I'm going to go out there and play. So I expect him to play. Now, I get the Broncos, because the Broncos did it with Peyton Manning. You bring in a guy who everybody thinks is injured, you go right up to the sunset, you win a Super Bowl. The Chiefs, I'm not so hot about because I still like Alex Smith. I mean, people are indifferent about him, feel like he's a winner. Winner needs to stay. And the last one, Houston, Texas, I do not get at all. I am completely baffled why they would be interested in him, because they just brought in Brock, $72 million, And we go back a couple months.
Because
Tom
they just
Savage
brought in Brock.
was the most liked guy.
You nailed it. You just brought in Brock.
But we had this whole conversation. I think the nation and all the football fans across the world were saying, "Oh, this Tom Savage guy looks pretty good." I mean,
you're not going to roll the dice on Romo because you got Tom Savage?
I get it, 100%. Yeah, you
talking
do.
about the business of the money or what?
Well, just having Brock and then having Savage, I felt like Savage was the guy. If they weren't going to play Brock, Savage was going to be the next guy.
I say you bring 15 good quarterbacks in and let the best one win. I don't think you say, hey, let's limit ourselves because of Tom Savage's fragile ego or something.
No, I get that.
But Nate,
100%.
I think the most intriguing one on the board is Kansas City.
Why?
Playoff team.
They have a good quarterback, and that's exactly it. That's the most perfect Kansas City thing. They have a good quarterback. They're a good team. That's it. Do they want to be a great team? This is not the first time.
Yes, you and I talk about this all the time.
Love it.
15 touchdowns in 16 games.
That's it.
What is their ceiling? Can they take the next step? Could Romo be the guy that takes them the next step? They're loaded. They could do it.
Let's learn from history. That's the last time that Alex Smith lost his position.
Kaepernick.
What happened? They went to the Super Bowl, all right? Andy Reid it doesn't mess around. He is late in the game now. Who knows how long he's going to coach? He wants the Super Bowl bad. Kansas City, it's the same cycle. We win a bunch of games, we get to the playoffs, and we lose. Alex Smith is a great guy. He's not a great quarterback. I would love to see Romo there. And Alex Smith will step back.
I like that. Can I give you guys some more layers to this?
Yes.